I was lost with a broken heart. You picked me up, now I'm set apart. From the ash I am born again, forever safe in the Savior's hands. You are more than my words could say. I follow you, Lord, for all my days. Fix my eyes, follow in your ways. Forever free in unending grace. 'Cause you are my freedom. Your love, never ending. You are alive in us. Nothing can take your place. You are all we need. Your love has set us free. You are my freedom. Your love, never ending. You are alive in us. Nothing can take your place. You are all we need. Your love has set us free.
All right, good morning. We are the Family Church of South Florida. You are the Family Church of South Florida, and we're all connected here this morning for our live stream service, staying virtual, but staying together. The first song is The River. Sing with us. Here we go. I know a place where we can go to lay the troubles down beneath your soul. I know a place where mercy flows. Take the stains, make you whiter than snow. Like a tide, it is rising up deep inside a current that moves and makes you come alive. Living water that brings the dead to life. We're going down to the river, down to the river, down to the river to pray. Let's get washed by the water, and rise up in amazing grace. Let's go down, down, down to the river. Let's go down, down, down to the river. Let's go down. I've seen it move in my life. Took me from dusty roads into paradise. All of my dirt, all of my shame, drowned in the streams that made me born again. Like a tide, it is rising up deep inside a current that moves and makes you come alive. Living water that brings you dead to life. Oh, we're going down to the river, down to the river, down to the river to pray. Let's get washed by the water, and rise up in amazing grace. Let's go down, down, down to the river. Let's go down, down, down to the river. Let's go down.
You mend my life with your holy fire. You cover me with grace. You are the hand that reaches out to save. I am set free. Oh, I am set free. Oh, it is for freedom that I am set free. And you broke my chains of sin and shame, and you covered me with grace. You mend my life with your holy fire. You cover me with grace. You are the hand that reaches out to save. I am set free. Oh, I am set free. Oh, it is for freedom that I am set free. I am set free. Oh, I am set free. Oh, it is for freedom that I am set free. And yes, Lord, we are grateful for your grace and for your love. Yes, Lord, we are grateful for your grace and for your love. Yes, Lord, we are grateful for your grace and for your love. Yes, Lord, we are grateful for your grace and for your love. You are the hand that reaches out to save. I am set free. Oh, I am set free. Oh, it is for freedom that I am set free. Oh, I am set free. Oh, I am set free. Oh, it is for freedom that I am set free. It is for freedom that I am set free. Let's bow our heads together. Let's take a moment to pray. Our dearest beloved Heavenly Parent, true parents, we know that in your love, in your light, we are truly set free, that we can be able to feel the freedom through your embrace. We're able to feel the freedom from the forgiveness that you give us, and that this freedom is true freedom, that we are not bound by the rules and the norms of society, of what this world is telling us we have to do, but that we are truly free to live with you in your love. But that you also set us free. You also gave us new life with your word and your heart. And for that, we just want to continue to live with you. We want to have this love be forever, everlasting. We're so grateful for you, and we truly feel so blessed and want to just return that love back to you in everything that we do.
We like to pray for all these things and all of our names and the names of Yolani, Joe, Visa, Bless, and Joe couple. Amen. Adieu.
Falling is easy, but staying in love is hard. Hard to be honest and keep our heart open to be who we truly are, without the excuses, without the facade. There's no pretending. Here in your love, oh Lord, set me free. Oh Lord, set me free.
I'm finally seeing that you weren't here all alone. Your love wasn't absent. No, it doesn't come or go.
The image I've had is starting to fade. You're patient with me,
Lifting the veil, Lord, set me free. Oh Lord, set me free.
doesn't seem that way, but maybe it's the perfect day. Even though the bills are piling, maybe Lady Luck ain't smiling. But if we'd only open our eyes, we see the blessings in disguise, that all the rain clouds are fountains, though our troubles seem like mountains. There's gold in them hills, there's gold in them hills, so don't lose heart. Give the day a chance to start. Every now and then life says, where'd you think you're going so fast? We're apt to think it cruel, but sometimes it's a case of cruel to be kind. And if we get up off our knees, why then we see the forest for the trees, and we see the new sun rising over the hills on the horizon.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Family Church, South Florida. It's good to see you again. We love doing this, and we feel more connected the more we can just kind of communicate over the internet. Thank you so much for being here, and definitely don't hesitate to join us at 5 p.m. for the Zoom Hangout. I sent out the link to you guys, and invite friends, invite people you know, your neighbors. We can hang out together as a community that way on Zoom. So welcome, everyone. Thanks for being here. Today, I wanted to kind of deliver this kind of idea, this message today that I've been thinking about for a while. It conjures up an image that I hope you guys can kind of enjoy from my childhood. Every weekend, during the summers, my dad would take me, and our whole family would go down to the beach. And so I grew up as a Cali kind of surfing kid. And so as we reopened beaches pretty soon here in Florida, it kind of just reminded me about all of that experience and how awesome it is as a family. Today, the message is entitled, Diving into the Wall of a Wave. And it's a lesson that I learned as a young boy when you're standing in the ocean. I don't know if Floridians have this kind of problem because there really aren't that many actual waves in the California standards or Hawaiian standards. But when you're standing in the ocean and there's a big wave coming at you, what do you do? And I learned sort of over the course of time and getting tricks from other surfers and people that actually what you do is, well, the last thing you do is swim away from the wave. You cannot outswim a wave. You can't make it back to shore in time. Absolutely, you will fail. And I tried many times, and when you do that, what happens is the wave catches you in a really bad way and tumbles you into the ground. And how often does that feel? Quite like life, does it not? And actually, the way to get through a big wave coming at you in life is to dive through it. And it's just like surfing. I don't know if you've seen it, but you will see it if you watch a surfer or a body surfer or people out in that kind of ocean, where if there's a big wall coming at you and it's scary, you learn to just dive headfirst right into that wave, and you come out the other side of that wave, and you're pretty much unharmed. And so today this whole week, I've been thinking about that, how things in life, especially the circumstances we're going through, are almost like so tall and so insurmountable, we don't know what to do. Well, today I want to challenge you to dive headfirst into whatever it is that is facing you. Take things head on. And so I'd like to talk a little bit about that and expound upon it. Taking things head on doesn't always mean just work harder or just bear down and take it. Taking things head on is sort of a decisive action to face whatever it is that's facing you. We often actually working harder and continuing to do what we've always done is actually kind of a way of running away from certain kinds of things, running away from certain kind of waves. Just swim really hard and you'll get out of this. And that's not always the case. And I can personally tell you that I actually have this struggle. I have usually met all of my challenges with just work harder. That's it. Just work harder and you'll work your way out of it. And the truth is that there are certain things in life you cannot just put your head down and get out of just by exhausting yourself. There's actually a harder thing to do, which is to embrace and face something that's coming to you. And the reason is because usually that requires change in strategy. So I think the wave facing us all, in the whole world, in the country especially, is a massive wave coming at us right now of big-time change. I know that I won't see the world the same way even after quarantine's done. You know, I don't know about you, but I'll never look at storable foods the same way. I'm always going to have dried split peas and beans and rice in my house, a little more of that from this day forward because of all this. And, so your views in life will change. The world is changing. I think our church will change. Our church is facing change. Our families are facing change. I think you could probably relate to that, right? And we're reorienting ourselves. Even on a global scale, the idea of globalism is changing. Globalism is not working because it never had mankind's spiritual needs at the forefront. We have to embrace a new era where Godism is coming in, where people's internal heart condition is addressed. We really haven't had leaders all over the world. All of the big organizations that say they are taking responsibility for the world's problems never address mankind's spiritual needs, womankind's spiritual needs. And so we need Godism to come into this world, and it is coming. That's part of this big wave coming in. And so a lot of our world is shaking up right now. We're seeing a season of change. And so I want to kind of say, how about we're all in this and we ride this wave together? This is a great opportunity to take something in your life that you want to change. You can take that on right now. This is absolutely the time for it. It's the climate for it. It's happening. Everything's changing. So you can change too. I really believe that. I think about, I see Alexandra growing up, and I realize how resistant to growing up and discipline we are as kids, right? I know that Alexandra just cannot stand the idea right now of not touching the printer. She loves the printer, and we're just no, we spent money on this printer. We do not touch the printer, and it's this thing every day, and she's finally getting it. But as kids, I know that we didn't want to get up early. I know I had a really hard time getting up early as a kid. I don't know if you guys can relate. I'll tell you the story some other time, but my dad had this hilarious, imaginative way of getting me up in the morning. He would pretend to be different characters that he made up, and they were called the morning people. And the morning people would tickle me and scratch my back and just do all this stuff that just annoyed me until I finally cried uncle and got out of bed. So, I just resisted so much just wanting to get out of bed. Actually, I'm not too much different now. I haven't really grown up. But so as a kid, we don't really want to discipline or grow. We just kind of want the goodies, right? We want to get the keys to the car. We want to stay up later than we're supposed to. We wanted to move out of the house and go to an interstate college or something. But as a parent, you're thinking, look, I'm probably going to let you have all of those things, but there's a certain kind of maturity that needs to take place first. So I'm thinking about that. It's like if you are failing your grades, if you can't even drive your bicycle straight and you crashed your bicycle, you're probably not going to get the keys to the car, right? You have to show a certain kind of maturity before you get the blessings and the things that you want in life. God actually set it up this way. And just because I think one of our blind spots is after we grow up into an adulthood, it's like we assume we've passed our growing period. Okay, I remember when I had to learn to do chores. Okay, yeah, I remember when I had to stay up all night doing final exams. Okay, I remember that. But now I'm in adulthood, and adulthood is all about just day in, day out and get the bills paid. And that's wrong. Actually, in adulthood, we are just as resistant to wanting to grow as kids were. We're this whole path. We're not uncles of God, right? We're children of God. We're always in a state of learning, growing, and being in a child relationship with God. So there's always a part of us that wants to resist. Do you wake up in the mornings every day and say, okay, this year I want to work on my patience. Okay, this year I want to be more humble. Okay, this year I want to be more stubborn, more stubborn, Freudian slip. Maybe I should be more stubborn. I want to be less stubborn this year. Or this year I want to speak up for myself and share what I'm really going through with others. Do we really bring those things up daily? We usually don't. Those are things we kind of push to the side. So what I want to tell you today is God made a system, just like a parent would, that you don't get the privileges and the success and the things that you want in your life until you grow. The line in my mind was, you don't get the goodies until you grow. And that's just like a parent would do. That's how I would do with Alexandra. That's how I'll probably do it with when she's older. And so we have to think about this. We're always like feeling like happiness is kind of eluding us, but actually I want to challenge that thought today. God made it this way, and you can look back to Adam and Eve. What do you think Adam and Eve wanted, right? They wanted true love, happiness. They wanted a relationship with each other. They wanted a great family. They probably wanted to just live forever in this wonderful, probably organic, Garden of Eden that was amazing. Does that sound bad to you guys? That's probably what they wanted. That's what we all want. But they didn't get it because they didn't wait and mature. They didn't grow into the place where they were able to handle marriage. They didn't grow into the place where they were able to handle raising kids. I think they probably were struggling a lot as parents. I mean, look at the sons. Cain and Abel there was a murder in the family. And if I saw that in a family today, I would say something happened with the parents. The parents weren't there. The parents weren't ready to parent. So God and Adam and Eve probably wanted the exact same things from the start. But when you take things or you try to shortcut the growth, things go wrong. The maturity has to be there to handle it. God is so amazing. He's going to give us so much happiness and so many awesome relationships and things in our life that we're going to experience. But it's so awesome that you have to be a mature person to really handle how awesome that is. So the growing up didn't take place with Adam and Eve. And the same is true for us all, I think. We want the joy of a marriage. We want the joy of intimacy with a spouse. We want the joy of raising kids. But are we mature enough to handle those things? And you see out in the world what happens when people are promoting. I mean, there are people promoting that young kids go into these kind of conjugal, marital, adult relationships so young, they are not ready. We learned a long time ago that you have to mature first to be able to handle it. You know what this also tells me? Well, what this also tells me is everything you want, even as a teenager, if you're listening, a young kid, even as an adult, everything you want that your heart is burning for, God is planning to give you. I'll say that again. Everything you want, God is planning to give you. Everything you want is already on its way to you, especially if what you want is centered on true love, on being a good person, on following your conscience, on living with God. If those are the things you want, it is on its way and waiting for you. Think about that. You know, I didn't really see it that way when I was a rebellious teenager. You know, I wanted to stay up late, I wanted to bend rules and get more freedom than I was really able to handle. I'll admit that. I wanted to go jump a few steps ahead. I even grew a beard when I was 14 years old, and my mom had a hard time with that one. So we want to go forward in our steps. We want to see the results, the privileges, the freedom happen. But we forget that there's a maturity that needs to take place first. To anybody that's younger than 20 years old listening, thinking, oh, I want to stay up later. Don't worry, it's coming. You'll stay up all night many, many times studying for college, and then later when you have a kid, you'll be up all the time in every hour of the night. It's coming, believe me. So everything you want is already on its way. Isn't that amazing? You want happiness, fulfillment, success, better finances, better tightness with your spouse. It's absolutely in God's plan for you. But we have to be mature enough to handle those things when they come. I want to divert over to a very famous passage in Scripture when Jesus says, ask in my name and you'll receive it. Just ask and you'll receive it. And it is mind-boggling to really look at this thing in a logical, sort of tangible way. It's in the book of John. Truly, truly, I say to you, whatever you ask of the Father in my name, he will give to you. Until now, you have asked nothing in my name. Ask, and you will receive, that your joy may be full. These are Jesus' words. I don't want to say Jesus is wrong, but do you experience this in your life? Okay, I'm just going to ask the Lord for it, and it's going to happen. Well, I've asked the Lord many times for a winning lotto ticket and other things, and it doesn't happen. What's going on with this? I found out something very interesting. This is a big one especially for Christians, especially when we talk about the name of Jesus, the name of God. Ask in my name and you'll receive. And there's so much about the name, right? Your name is holy and all this in so many worship songs. In the original Hebrew, way back in the Old Testament, the word name implies something so much different than just your actual letters of your name. It's your label is your name, right? In Hebrew, the name means the character, the quality and the character. And there's an interesting couple of scriptures that will kind of show you that, but I'll show you one. In Psalm 9:10, David is saying to God, the people that know your name, God, the people that know your name, surely they trust in you. They trust in you, Lord. The people who really know your name trust in you. Now, think about that. Does that really make sense? It's like, oh, just because I know the guy at the gas station's name, I can see his name tag, right? But does that mean I just trust him because I know his name? I see his name. I trust him. How does that make sense? It only makes sense when David's really talking about God's character. God, if people knew your real heart, God, if people knew your character, they would trust in you fully. And that makes sense to me. So fast forward, when Jesus is saying, ask in my name and you will receive, what's he really saying? He's saying, ask in my character. Ask in the position of walking my path. Ask being Christ-like. Ask the Father to help, and he will every time. This makes so much more sense to me. When you're living for the sake of others, when you're striving to be more and more Christ-like, then you go to God and you ask for the blessings, for the success, for the strength, whatever it might be, then it will come. So when we ask God or we ask the universe for things, it's not just about waving a magic, name like, oh, well, I'm Buddhist, so the name that I'm going to put on it is, Buddha. Or I'm Christian, so the name I'm just going to throw on it is Jesus, and that's it. No, Jesus is telling us it's beyond religious organizations. It's in the character of true love. Then your prayers become incredibly powerful. What you ask for, what you strive for, will come to you. Another way to say it is this. If there's any takeaway, this is the big takeaway. Everything in life, everything that you want in life is on the other side of personal growth. When you grow and you're willing to learn and humble yourself and change something about yourself, then you're on the path to everything you want in life, whatever it might be. Jesus grew a lot, actually. People forget that he was a young boy who was probably, I hate to say this, but he was probably immature like any other boy. And St. Paul tells us Jesus learned to be who he was. Jesus learned it through suffering, through his humility, through his course in life. So if he can learn it, and he's telling us we can too. Everything you want is on the other side of your personal growth, not someone else's personal growth. And you might say, well, yeah, but my boss needs to decide to give me a raise. Or yeah, but my spouse needs to change this. They have bigger problems than me. I want to rebuttal that right away and say, look at what Jesus did without controlling anyone else. He died virtually alone. He didn't control, or he quite really didn't change anybody's. The disciples were kind of on and off, right? He didn't really change their behavior that much during his earthly ministry, and died virtually alone. But just Jesus walking his own path of personal growth, he was able to inspire others to willingly want to change. And that's what we're going to experience that. As you grow, as you decide to, do the chores better, or as you decide to get that second job and make that extra income, you're going to be tempted to see your family members and your spouse and go, well, I'm working really hard. What about you? You're going to feel that temptation. You're going to see that come out. And you have to remember that it's only your personal growth that you control, and it's only your personal growth that will inspire others eventually, over time, to want to be better. You can take that to the bank. That is absolutely the truth. You can see the proof in it in Christ. So thank you so much for joining us today. I've been thinking about this. God was definitely kind of speaking in my ear this week and saying, God, Joe, everything you really want is waiting for you, but you have some growing pains to go through to get there. So I'd like to pass that on to everyone here. The great news about this, the great thing about this is that it's totally within your power to get to the next level of your life, to feel God's love even better, to be wildly abundant in your ability to give to others and be at peace in yourself. These things are attainable. These things are within your power to do. It's only through the power of God's true love. It's only through that power of prayer. It's only through that power of going inward. So yes, I want to embrace. Let's dive into this wall ahead of us. Dive into the wave, the one that looks scary, the one that we're running away from. Let's embrace it. Let's be in the name, in the character, in the quality of God. Let's be in the quality of living for the sake of others. Doesn't that sound good? And if we do that, what we are waiting for in life, we'll find is already waiting for us. We're going to be elevating so rapidly once we embrace this attitude. So thank you so much. I know I have my flaws. Thank you all for, you bear with my flaws. And I know that it's easy to see others' flaws and all that. But this year, we're going to band together and become a personal growth ministry. We're going to challenge ourselves through prayer, through God's love, through God's forgiveness, to just become shining beings of light, shining people, children of God this year. This is the year for it. I can feel it because there's change all over the globe. So we're going to ride that wave together, all right? Thanks so much, brothers and sisters. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for joining us live here with the Family Church of South Florida. We hope you have a wonderful week and can take some of this encouragement with you. We're going to close. Let's sing together. Just clap your hands like this wherever you are.
Open the eyes of my heart, Lord. Open the eyes of my heart. I want to see you. I want to see you. Open the eyes of my heart, Lord. Open the eyes of my heart. I want to see you. I want to see you.
See you high.
See you high and lifted up, shining in the light of your glory. Pour out your power and love as we sing holy, holy, holy. Holy, holy, holy. Holy, holy, holy. As we sing holy, holy, holy. I want to see you.
Keep your hands going. Sing with us.
Open the eyes of my heart, Lord. Open the eyes of my heart. I want to see you. I want to see you. Open the eyes of my heart, Lord. Open the eyes of my heart. I want to see you. I want to see you. See you high and lifted up, shining in the light of your glory. Pour out your power and love as we sing holy, holy, holy. See you high and lifted up, shining in the light of your glory. Pour out your power and love as we sing holy, holy, holy. Holy, holy, holy. Holy, holy, holy. Sing holy, holy, holy. I want to see you.
Holy.
Come on, sing holy, holy, holy. As we sing holy, holy, holy. As we sing holy, holy, holy. I want to see you.
Have a great week, everyone.